Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss how to conduct or execute the unit root test in STATA. Basically, there are two types of unit root tests. The first one is the first generation unit root test, whereas the other one are the second generation unit root test. Now, the second generation unit root test allows a little bit degree of dependency, so they relax the assumption of first generation test. Basically, there are two tests that are being used as the second generation unit root test. The first one is the CIPS and the second is CADF. These tests are presented by Pisaran in 2007. Today we are going to conduct or execute the CIPS test, that is basically called cross-sectional impesaration unit root test. This is the test of stationarity, and the other is known as the cross-sectional augmented Dickey-Fuller test. Both these tests can be used interchangeably. Today we are going to discuss the first one. First of all, when we start the STATA, you can import the files directly from here. If you click on the file, you can see the option of import. Select the option and Excel sheet. Now here you can see is the option of browse. We select this. These are the data files. We will select the data file that we need. Now you can see here is the data file and it is the cell range. Here we have two options. The first one is import first row as the variable name, and the second option is import all data as strings. So we will select the first option. We will import the first row as the variable name and then we click OK. Our data is imported. We will go to the data editor section, click this form, and you can see here the data is pasted in the file. Okay, now there are basically two things which need to be understand first. The first one is the creation of do file and the other is the logo. First you click add file, scroll down at logo, and here you can see the option begin. Write it begin. Now here look at this. In E drive data and in my data a folder is created. We will write its name. As we are going to do CIPS, so we will write it as CIPS logo. And we will save it. Okay, now you can directly use Control 9 to create the do file. Here you can see the name of do file, and when we try to save it, it will again give us an option to give it the name. We are going to proceed with the CIPS, so we will write CIPS do file. Okay, and save it. I have already saved this file, so I will just open it. Okay, now here you can see the name do file CIPS, and we will copy all the commands in the do file, and at the same time all the working of the STATA will be saved on the logo file. Okay, now you minimize it. First of all, we have to set the data as the panel data, so we are going to the statistics and scroll down to the longitudinal panel data, and the first one is the setup option. Now here declare data set to be panel data. Click the option. Here panel ID variable, you click add this. I have written it as PID. Sometimes students can write it as code, so select accordingly. Here is the time variable. Time variable is written as, I have written the time variable as years, so I will select years. If you write T or whatever your variable name, you select that variable, and now Click OK. Now see here, panel data PID strongly balanced, time variables 2004 to 2022, and now our data is pasted and also arranged or set as the panel data. Now there is another option to select this data or to set this data. You will simply write st_set. Again you have to write the variable names PID and years by years and click enter. You see, again it is selected. Now if you see, here are the commands which I have put. You can copy the commands and here as you see we have the do file. You can paste the commands here. These are the commands which we are doing. Again minimize it. Now we will write the command for CIPS test. Basically it is a second generation unit root test, and we will select a variable for which we are going to do the test. Here in the very right corner you see the variable names. We will conduct the test for each variable individually. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to write XT_CIPS space our variable name. If you see here, let's suppose we are going to take this variable fi, double click on fi, then put a comma. We will take max_2. Okay, select the max_2 and bglax2 as well. Okay, and we will select the trend, write the trend here and enter. Now you see here is a table. This is the value of our CIPS or the CIPS for our data set. Here are the critical values at 10%, 5% and 1%. Now look at this, our value is -1.247. That is greater than all these values. It means we are accepting the null hypothesis, where the null hypothesis is given as the homogeneous panels and non-stationary. So what we will do, we will go with the first difference. So again we will write the same command. Just before the variable name write d dot fi. The d means the difference, and when we enter it, now look at the value of our variable, that is -3.711, and here are the critical values as we have seen earlier. Now look at this value, it is the least or minimum than all these values. So what do we conclude? We conclude that at this value or at the first difference, we are rejecting the null hypothesis and conclude that panels are heterogeneous and stationary, and we will say that stationary at first difference. Now how would you report these? To report the results of CIP test, we simply made this kind of a table. In the first column you will write the variable names, and in the other two columns we will write the results of CIPS test. If you see, there are the values of CIPS at level, and these values are at the first difference. Now at the first difference you have seen these stars. These three stars means these values are significant at 1%. Okay, now here are some other variables. We will conduct the test for all the variables and make this kind of a table for the execution of results. I hope this video will be informative for you. If you like the video, do remember to share and like.